The fluorescent lights of the diner hummed above me, casting everything in that sickly yellow glow that made even the coffee look poisonous. I could feel the weight of my uniform clinging to my skin, the cheap polyester that never quite dried after the lunch rush, still damp with grease and the sharp tang of vinegar from the pickle jar I'd knocked over earlier. My feet screamed inside shoes held together more by hope than stitches, and I could feel the beginning of another blister forming on my heel. 3 more hours. Just 3 more hours, and I could go home to Lily. I wiped down the counter for what felt like the 100th time, my reflection catching in the stainless steel napkin dispenser. God, I looked awful. My hair was scraped back into a messy bun that had given up any pretense of neatness around hour 6 of my shift. No makeup. There was never time for makeup. The bags under my eyes had bags of their own, purple shadows that spoke of sleepless nights, and a colicky baby who thought 3 a.m. was party time. "Table 12 needs water," Gary called from the kitchen, his voice carrying that edge it always got when he was 2 beers deep into his shift. I grabbed the pitcher, my hands moving on autopilot. This was my life now. 23 years old, single mother, working double shifts at Romano's diner just to keep the lights on in our shoebox apartment. The dream of nursing school felt like something from another lifetime, back when I still believed in dreams. The bell above the door chimed, and I glanced up out of habit. That's when everything changed. He walked in like he owned the place. No, like he owned the entire city block and was simply gracing us with his presence. Even from across the diner, I could feel the shift in atmosphere, the way the air itself seemed to bend around him. He couldn't have been more than 30, dressed in a suit that probably cost more than my annual rent. Charcoal gray, perfectly tailored to a body that moved with the fluid confidence of a predator. But it wasn't just him. 2 men flanked him, massive, silent, their eyes constantly scanning the room with the systematic precision of security cameras. They wore identical black suits, and I caught the subtle bulge under their jackets that made my stomach drop. The man in gray said something low, and one of them immediately moved to check the back exit while the other positioned himself near the door we'd just entered through. My hands started to shake, water sloshing over the rim of the pitcher. "Emma!" Gary's voice snapped me back. "You gonna stand there all day?" I forced my feet to move, delivering water to table 12. A young couple who didn't even look up from their phones, but my attention kept sliding back to the man in gray as his guards guided him to the corner booth. The best seat in the house, the one that gave a clear view of both entrances and had its back to a solid wall. He sat with the kind of ease that came from never having to question whether a space was his. Long legs stretched out under the table, one arm draped across the back of the booth. His face was all sharp angles, high cheekbones, a jaw that could cut glass, and eyes so dark they looked black in the diner's terrible lighting. His hair was styled back, revealing a face that belonged on magazine covers, not in this grease-stained corner of Brooklyn. One of his guards approached the counter, and I nearly dropped the pitcher. Coffee. Black. And whatever's fresh. His voice was pure gravel, New York accent thick enough to slice. He slid a 50 across the counter without looking at me, like money meant nothing. I took the order with trembling hands, hyper-aware of the weapon I could now clearly see under his jacket as he turned. These weren't normal customers. Normal customers didn't travel with armed bodyguards. Normal customers didn't make every other patron in the diner suddenly find their food fascinating. Gary caught my arm as I prepared the coffee, his fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. "Don't stare. Don't ask questions. Just serve and smile. Who is he?" "Nobody you want to know." But there was fear in Gary's eyes, real fear, and that scared me more than anything. My hands shook as I carried the coffee to the corner booth. One guard stepped aside, and suddenly I was standing right in front of him. Up close, he was even more devastating and more terrifying. There was something cold in his eyes, something that had seen things I couldn't even imagine. A thin scar cut through his left eyebrow, and another traced along his jaw. Barely visible, but enough to remind me that this beautiful face had known violence. "Your coffee, sir." My voice came out barely above a whisper. He looked up, and for one eternal second our eyes met. I couldn't breathe. Those dark eyes moved over my face with an intensity that made me want to run. Not the casual glance of a customer. This was assessment, calculation, something deeper that I couldn't name. His gaze traveled down to my stained uniform, my chapped hands still clutching the coffee pot, my worn shoes, and then back up to my face. Something flickered in his expression. Surprise? Interest? I couldn't tell. Thank you. His voice was different than I expected. Softer, with a richness that didn't match the cold exterior. Italian accent underneath the New York inflection, barely noticeable, but there. I nodded and turned to escape. But my stupid, traitorous shoe, the one held together with super glue and prayers, chose that exact moment to fail completely. The sole detached, catching on the tile, and I went down hard, the coffee pot flying from my hands. Time slowed to a crawl. I saw the pot arc through the air, saw the dark liquid spray out in a perfect arc, saw it heading directly for the man in the gray suit. I saw my entire pathetic life flash before my eyes, getting fired, losing the apartment, Lily taken away by social services. But then he moved, fast, impossibly fast for someone who'd looked so relaxed. He shifted to the side, the coffee missing him by inches, his hand shooting out to catch my arm before I hit the ground. His grip was iron, stopping my fall completely, and suddenly I was suspended there, half fallen, his fingers wrapped around my forearm. The coffee pot shattered on the tile, the sound explosive in the sudden silence. "I'm so sorry," I gasped, trying to pull away, but his grip didn't loosen. "Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'll pay for the dry cleaning. You're hurt." He cut me off, his eyes fixed on my arm where his fingers had caught me. A thin line of blood welled up. I must have scratched it on the booth's edge during the fall. "It's nothing. I'm fine. Please, I'm so sorry." He pulled me closer, examining the scratch with a focus that was completely disproportionate to the injury. "This needs to be cleaned." "Sir, really, it's just a scratch." "Dante." He addressed one of his guards without looking away from my arm. "First aid kit from the car. Mr. Valentino? That's not necessary." The guard started. "Now." Just one word, quietly spoken, but the guard moved immediately, disappearing through the door. Mr. Valentino. The name echoed in my head, trying to connect with something, some piece of information I'd heard before. Valentino. Where had I... Sit. He gestured to the booth across from him. "I need to clean this up, my boss." "We'll wait." There was no room for argument in his tone. "Sit down before you fall down. Your shoe is destroyed." Heat flooded my cheeks as I looked down at my pathetic footwear, the sole flapping uselessly. I slid into the booth, keeping as much distance as possible, my heart hammering so hard I was sure he could hear it. Gary appeared with a broom, his face pale, shooting me looks that promised a serious conversation later. He swept up the broken pot without a word, disappearing back into the kitchen so fast he practically left skid marks. The guard, Dante, returned with a first aid kit that looked more suited for a war zone than a minor scratch. Mr. Valentino took it, dismissed him with a slight nod, and then focused entirely on me. "Your arm." He held out his hand, palm up, waiting. I hesitated, every instinct screaming at me to run, but his guards were watching, the entire diner was watching, and I was trapped. I slowly extended my arm. His fingers were gentle as they wrapped around my wrist, turning my arm to examine the scratch. They were also covered in rings, heavy silver and gold, one with what looked like a family crest. His hands were elegant but scarred, the knuckles slightly enlarged in that way that came from breaking them repeatedly. He cleaned the wound with an antiseptic wipe, his touch careful, almost reverent. The smell of his cologne drifted over me, expensive, something with sandalwood and leather, so different from the perpetual smell of fryer oil that clung to my clothes. "What's your name?" he asked, applying a small bandage with surprising precision. "Emma." It came out automatically before I could think better of it. "Emma." He repeated it like he was tasting it, testing how it felt. "You work here every day?" Warning bells clanged in my head. "Why?" A slight smile curved his lips, transforming his face from terrifying to merely devastating. "Curious. I work double shifts, 6 days a week." I don't know why I told him that. Maybe because his hands were still on my arm, warm and steady, and my brain had apparently stopped functioning. That's too much. His thumb brushed over my pulse point, and I knew he could feel how fast my heart was racing. What about school? Can't afford it. The words were bitter on my tongue. I have a daughter to feed. Something shifted in his expression. That cold calculation replaced by something almost soft. How old? 6 months. Pride crept into my voice despite everything. Her name is Lily. Lily. Again, that way of saying the name like he was memorizing it. Beautiful name. He finished with the bandage and should have released my arm, but his fingers stayed wrapped around my wrist. His thumb still resting against my pulse. The touch should have scared me. It did scare me. But there was also something else, something I couldn't name, that made me not want to pull away. Mr. Valentino, we should... Dante started from his position by the door. Give me a minute. Valentino's eyes never left mine. The weight of his attention was crushing. I felt exposed, like he could see every secret, every fear, every moment of desperation that had led me to this diner, to this uniform, to this life. Your shoe, he said finally. What size? I blinked. What? Your shoe size. What is it? 7. Why? He reached into his jacket. I flinched, but he only pulled out a phone, sleek and expensive. He typed something quickly, then looked back at me. You'll have new shoes tomorrow. I can't accept. You can. You will. He released my arm finally, and I felt the loss of his warmth immediately. What time does your shift end? Every alarm in my head went off at once. Why would you need to know that? Because I'm going to make sure you get home safely. He said it like it was the most natural thing in the world. Like he regularly escorted broke waitresses home. That's really not necessary, Emma. The way he said my name made me freeze. What time? 11, I whispered, unable to lie under the weight of that stare. I'll be here at 11. He stood, smooth and graceful, his guards immediately flanking him. He pulled out his wallet, black leather, thick with bills, and placed $300 bills on the table for the coffee pot, and the rest is for Lily. I can't. You can. He looked down at me, and for just a second, something human flickered in those cold eyes. Something almost like longing. I'll see you at 11, Emma. Then he was gone, his guards flowing around him like water, and the diner felt suddenly empty without his presence. I stared at the money on the table, my hands shaking. Gary appeared at my elbow. Do you have any idea who that was? Mr. Valentino? I picked up the bills with numb fingers, knowing I should refuse them, knowing I was going to keep every single one because Lily needed formula, and our electricity bill was overdue. Luca Valentino, or Gary's voice dropped to barely a whisper. Head of the Valentino crime family. Most dangerous man in New York, and he just claimed you. The money felt like it was burning my fingers. Claimed me? What are you? The way he touched you. The way he looked at you. The guards saw it. Everyone in here saw it. You're under his protection now, whether you like it or not. Gary grabbed my shoulders, his fingers digging in. Emma, you need to be very, very careful. Men like Luca Valentino don't just help people, and they sure as hell don't let go of what they consider theirs. I looked down at my bandaged arm, at the money in my hands, at my destroyed shoe. Through the window, I could see a black SUV pulling away from the curb, windows tinted so dark they looked like pieces of night carved out of the daylight. What had I just done? I couldn't stop thinking about him. For the rest of my shift, my mind kept replaying those dark eyes, the careful way he'd bandaged my arm, the weight of his attention. I scrubbed tables with unusual vigor, trying to work out the nervous energy that had taken root in my chest. Every time the bell above the door chimed, my head snapped up, my pulse jumping. But he didn't come back. Not until 11. I changed out of my uniform in the tiny bathroom, pulling on the only civilian clothes I'd brought. Worn jeans with a hole in the knee, and an oversized sweater that had seen better days 5 years ago. I'd tried to fix my hair, given up, and just let it fall around my shoulders in messy waves. Without the harsh ponytail, I looked younger, more vulnerable. I hated it. The money was tucked safely in my purse, along with the bandage still on my arm. Evidence that it had actually happened, that I hadn't hallucinated the entire encounter. Gary intercepted me at the back door. Emma, listen to me. You don't have to go with him. We can call you a cab. You can slip out. He'll just find me. I don't know how I knew that, but I did. Something about the way Luca Valentino had looked at me told me that walking away wasn't an option anymore. Besides, I need to give the money back. Gary's laugh was harsh. You really think he'll take it back? Men like him don't take things back. They only take more. But I pushed through the door anyway, stepping out into the October night. The temperature had dropped, autumn air biting through my thin sweater. The alley behind the diner smelled like garbage and stale beer, rats scurrying in the shadows. The black SUV was parked at the curb, impossible to miss. As soon as I appeared, Dante emerged from the driver's side, opening the back door with military precision. My feet wouldn't move. Miss Emma. Dante's voice was surprisingly gentle for such a large man. Mr. Valentino is waiting. I can take the subway. Really, this isn't necessary. Please, miss. It's cold. And Mr. Valentino doesn't like to be kept waiting. The implied threat was soft but unmistakable. I crossed the distance to the SUV on shaking legs, peering into the dark interior. Luca sat in the back seat, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Italian. When he saw me, he ended the call immediately. Get in, Emma. Not a request. I climbed in, and Dante closed the door behind me, sealing me inside. The interior was pure luxury. Leather seats that probably cost more than my entire apartment, dark wood accents, and that same intoxicating cologne filling the space. A privacy screen separated us from the front, where I could see Dante settling behind the wheel with another guard in the passenger seat. Luca reached across me, and I flinched before realizing he was just buckling my seatbelt. His fingers brushed my stomach, and even through the sweater, I felt the heat of his touch. Where do you live? He asked, settling back into his seat but keeping his body angled toward me. One arm stretched along the back of the seat behind my shoulders. I rattled off my address, watching his expression carefully. But he revealed nothing, just relayed the information to Dante through some kind of intercom system. The SUV pulled away from the curb, smooth and silent. I'd never been in a vehicle this nice. The seats were heated, warming my frozen body, and the ride was so smooth it felt like floating. You changed your clothes. Luca's voice was quiet, observational. My shift ended. You look beautiful. I nearly choked. I look like I got dressed in the dark using clothes from a dumpster. His lips curved into that devastating almost smile. You look real. Not like the women who usually... He trailed off, shaking his head. Tell me about Lily. The change of subject threw me. What do you want to know? Everything. So I told him. I told him about Lily's smile. How she just started laughing. How she grabbed my hair and wouldn't let go. I told him about the sleepless nights. The worry that never stopped. The way my chest ached every time I had to leave her with my neighbor Mrs. Chen so I could work. And he listened. Really listened. His attention focused entirely on me, like I was the only thing in his universe. Nobody had listened to me like that since before Lily was born, since before her father. What about Lily's father? Luca asked, as if reading my mind. My hands clenched in my lap, not in the picture. His choice or yours? His. The word tasted like ashes. He wanted me to get rid of her. When I refused, he left, cleaned out our shared account and disappeared. Something dangerous flashed in Luca's eyes, there and gone so fast I almost missed it. His name? Why? Curious. But the word held edges, sharp things lurking beneath the surface. Tyler. I shouldn't have told him. Tyler Morrison. But it doesn't matter. He's gone, and good riddance. Tyler Morrison, Luca repeated softly, and I had the distinct impression he was filing that name away for later. Did he hurt you? Besides leaving? The question was too perceptive. He didn't hit me, if that's what you're asking. That's not what I asked. I looked out the window, watching Brooklyn slide past. He made me feel small, worthless. Like I was lucky he even bothered with me. The confession spilled out before I could stop it. He said no one else would want me. That I was plain and boring and barely good enough for him. The silence that followed was heavy. When I finally dared to look at Luca, his jaw was tight, a muscle jumping beneath his skin. His hand had curled into a fist on his thigh, rings glinting in the passing streetlights. He was wrong. Luca's voice was quiet but absolute. Objectively, demonstrably wrong. Heat flooded my cheeks. You don't have to. I don't say things I don't mean, Emma. He turned those dark eyes on me, and I felt pinned. When I say you're beautiful, I mean it. When I say I'm going to take care of you, I mean that too. You don't even know me. I know enough. His hand moved from the seat back to my hair, fingers gently pulling out a leaf that must have been caught there from the alley. The gesture was so intimate, so careful, that I forgot to breathe. I know you work yourself to exhaustion to provide for your daughter. I know you apologized for an accident that wasn't your fault. I know you're terrified right now, but got in my car anyway because you're brave under all that fear. I'm not brave. I'm just tired. Bravery and exhaustion aren't mutually exclusive. His fingers lingered near my face, not quite touching, but close enough that I could feel the heat of his skin. When did you last eat something that wasn't leftovers from the diner? The question caught me off guard. This morning. Toast. Just toast? Lily needed formula. Toast is cheap. His expression darkened. You're feeding your daughter, but not yourself. That's what mothers do. That's what mothers do when they have no other option. He pressed the intercom button. Dante, change of plans. We're stopping at Russo's first. Sir, we have the meeting at midnight. Cancel it. Reschedule for tomorrow. We're stopping at Russo's. I grabbed his arm without thinking, feeling the solid muscle beneath the expensive fabric. You don't need to do that. Really, I have food at home. Liar. But his voice was gentle, and he made no move to dislodge my hand from his arm. Your body is shaking, and it's not from cold anymore. When did you last have a real meal? Yesterday. Lunch. Another lie. It had been 3 days, but I wasn't about to admit that to this dangerous man who was looking at me like I was something precious and fragile. He saw through it anyway. His free hand came up to cup my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone with devastating gentleness. Don't lie to me, Emma. I can always tell. The SUV pulled to a stop in front of a restaurant that looked like it cost a year's salary just to breathe near it. Russo's glowed with warm light, the windows revealing white tablecloths and crystal glasses. I can't go in there, I whispered. Look at me. Look at what I'm wearing. You look perfect. Luca's hand slid from my face to my hand, his fingers threading through mine. And anyone who has a problem with how you look will answer to me. Dante opened the door, and suddenly we were moving, Luca's hand firm around mine, pulling me from the SUV and into the restaurant before I could protest further. The guards flanked us immediately, their presence making other pedestrians give us a wide berth. Inside, the maitre d' took one look at Luca and went pale. Mr. Valentino, we weren't expecting you. Private room. Now. Luca didn't break stride, leading me through the restaurant like he owned it. Which he probably did. Curious eyes followed us, wealthy patrons in designer clothes watching the man in the impeccable suit escort the girl in discount jeans. I wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor, but Luca's grip on my hand was firm, almost possessive, and he held his head high like daring anyone to comment. The private room was stunning, intimate, with a single table set for two, wine already breathing, candles casting dancing shadows on the walls. A waiter appeared instantly, and Luca rattled off an order in Italian too fast for me to follow. Sit, he instructed, pulling out my chair. I sat, feeling like an imposter in this beautiful space. Luca, this is too much. It's dinner, not a marriage proposal. He took the seat across from me, close enough that our knees almost touched under the small table. Relax, Emma. I can't relax. Do you know what this meal is going to cost? I could feed Lily for a month. Then it's good that I'm paying, not you. He poured wine into my glass with smooth precision. Drink. You look like you need it. I did. God help me, I did. The wine was rich and smooth, nothing like the cheap stuff Tyler used to buy. It warmed me from the inside, loosening the knot of anxiety in my chest. Food started arriving, course after course of things I couldn't even name. Pasta that melted on my tongue, bread still warm from the oven, meat so tender it fell apart at the touch of a fork. Luca watched me eat with an intensity that should have been uncomfortable but somehow wasn't. How is it? He asked. Best thing I've ever tasted. I couldn't help the moan that escaped as I took another bite of the pasta. When I looked up, his eyes had darkened, fixed on my mouth. Good. His voice had dropped an octave, rough around the edges. Eat more. So I did, trying not to think about how much this cost, trying not to think about the way he was looking at me like I was more interesting than the finest meal money could buy, trying not to think about how right it felt to be here with him, even though every logical part of my brain was screaming danger. Why are you doing this? I asked finally, setting down my fork. The bandage, the shoes, the ride home, this dinner. Why? Luca leaned back in his chair, swirling wine in his glass. Would you believe me if I said I don't know? No, a real smile this time, transforming his face into something almost boyish. Smart girl. The truth is, when I saw you in that diner, working yourself to death in that terrible uniform, with exhaustion written all over your face, something shifted. He set down his glass, leaning forward until his face was inches from mine. You reminded me of my mother. I blinked. That's not what I expected you to say. She worked herself to death trying to provide for me and my sister after my father was killed. 3 jobs, barely any sleep, never enough food. She would go hungry so we could eat. His voice carried old pain, carefully controlled. She died when I was 16, heart attack brought on by exhaustion and malnutrition. I'm sorry, I whispered. Don't be sorry. Be smart. His hand found mine across the table, his grip firm. What you're doing, what she did, it's noble, but it's not sustainable. You can't take care of Lily if you destroy yourself in the process. I don't have a choice. You do now. His thumb traced circles on my palm, the touch sending shivers up my arm. I'm going to help you. Why would you help me? You don't owe me anything. We're strangers. We won't be. It was a promise and a threat all at once. From the moment you fell in my booth, from the moment I caught you, you became mine to protect. The possessiveness in his voice should have terrified me. It did terrify me, but it also sent a thrill through my body that I couldn't deny. I'm not yours, I said, but the words came out weak. Not yet. He raised my hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to my knuckles that burned like a brand. But you will be, Emma. You and Lily both. I'm going to take care of you whether you want me to or not. That's insane. You can't just decide that. I already have. He released my hand, sitting back with that predatory confidence. Finish your dinner. Then we'll get you home to your daughter. I should have argued. Should have thrown the wine in his face and run. But I was so tired of fighting. So tired of struggling. So tired of being alone and scared and hungry. And this man, this dangerous, beautiful man, was offering me a lifeline with one hand while wrapping chains around me with the other. I picked up my fork and kept eating, feeling his eyes on me the entire time. The drive to my apartment was quiet. I was too full, too warm, too confused to speak. Luca kept his hand on mine the entire time, his thumb drawing those maddening circles that made it impossible to think straight. When we pulled up to my building, a rundown brownstone in a neighborhood that got worse every year, Luca's expression hardened. This is where you live? His voice was flat, dangerous. It's what I can afford. The locks on the front door are broken.
Okay.
The windows on the first floor don't have bars. The lighting is terrible. He wasn't looking at me anymore, his eyes scanning the building with professional assessment.
Hola, buenas tardes.
This is not safe. It's fine.
¿Cómo están?
It's not fine. He
Soy
turned those
Juliana.
dark eyes back to me. How long have you lived here? 2 years, since I found out I was pregnant. His jaw tightened. You're not staying here. Excuse me? It's not safe. You and Lily need somewhere secure. Somewhere with proper locks and lighting and... Stop. I pulled my hand from his, anger
Ahí se
finally
ve un
breaking through the
caracolito
fog of confusion.
voluptuoso.
You can't just decide where I live. You can't control my life.
De-
I appreciate
de
dinner,
viola.
I appreciate the ride, but I'm not some project for you to manage. Emma? No. I reached for the door handle. Thank you for tonight. But this, whatever this is, it stops here. His hand shot out, gripping
Les
my
recuerdo que
wrist.
ayer subimos,
Not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to
la
stop
foto
me.
de-
You think I'm
mostrando
going to
la
let
manito
you
que
walk
preguntaban
away?
con qué señalábamos en la
Into that
pantalla,
death trap of a building in a neighborhood where
contamos
3
que
women have been
la
assaulted in the
pantalla
last
la vamos
month?
señalando, le indicando a los pilotos
I
por
froze.
dónde ir,
How do you know
o
that?
que
I know everything
el
that
lugar
happens in
hacer
this
zoom,
city. He pulled me back,
y
not letting
teníamos
go of
todo
my
un
wrist.
dispositivo
And I know
que
that
es como
building
una-
has mold in the
una
walls,
antena,
rats in
así
the
como
basement, and a landlord who hasn't done repairs in 5 years.
una antena telescópica
I know
con
your
una
neighbor,
manito
Mrs. Chen,
de-
is 73 and has
de goma,
arthritis, which
sí,
means she can barely
al
hold
final,
Lily when the
que
baby
indica
gets
con un
fussy.
dedo, con un
I know your
índice.
electricity gets shut off twice a month
Así que, bueno,
because you can't
sacamos
always
una
make the
fotito
payment
para que
on
la vean.
time. Horror washed over me. You investigated me? I protect what's mine.
Que
His voice
justo
was
alguien
soft
había
but
preguntado.
absolute.
Así que
And you're
buenísimo,
mine
que
now,
siempre
Emma.
vienen bien las
You became
preguntas
mine the
para
moment I touched you.
contarles cómo
I jerked my arm back, and this time he
cómo
let me
son todas
go.
las cosas acá,
I'm not
¿no?
yours.
Ahí vemos
I'm not
un
anyone's.
lenguado.
I'm my own person, and I make my own choices,
Bueno,
then
y-
make the
y
smart choice.
aprovechando toda
He
esta-
leaned
esta
closer,
inmersión,
his
que
voice
ya se
dropping
nos
to
va
barely above a
terminando un poco la
whisper.
campaña.
Let me move you somewhere safe.
Parece
Let me
mentira
help
todo
you.
el tiempo que pasó.
Let me take care of you and Lily the way you both deserve. And what do you get out of it? I demanded. Men like you don't do things out of
Y
the
todo
kindness of
este
their
camino
hearts.
recorrido
What do you want from me? The
por
silence
el
stretched
fondo
between us,
marino,
heavy with unspoken things. When he finally spoke,
en esta
his voice was
cuenca de
raw.
Malvinas.
Everything. The word hung in the air between us like a guillotine blade. I should go, I whispered. I'll walk you up. That's not...
Y
It's
hoy
not a
vamos
request,
estar-
Emma. He was already out of the
se pierde un poco la
SUV, coming
noción del
around to
tiempo,
open my
sí, pero
door.
te aseguro,
I
pasada
need to
la
see where you
medianoche,
live. I need to assess the security risks. And I need to meet Lily. That
siempre
last part made my
dependemos de
heart
la-
stutter.
del
Why?
tiempo, de las
Because she's
condiciones,
important
pero,
to you, which makes her important to
no
me.
sabemos si quizás esta puede
He
llegar
held
a
out his
ser
hand.
una de las últimas ya.
Please. That single word of courtesy, that slight softening in his
Inversiones.
voice.
Así
It
que
was
no
my
queremos
undoing.
prometer nada porque
I took his hand and let him
después
help
les
me
iremos
out of the
contando por
SUV.
el-
Dante
por
and the other
nuestra-
guard moved to
por
follow.
nuestro Instagram
but Luca waved
y
them
en los
off.
extremos.
Stay with the car. We won't be long. The building was worse seen through his eyes. The broken lock, the graffiti on the walls, the flickering light on the second-floor landing.
Sí,
My
nosotros
apartment was
también
on the
estamos
third
que no-
floor,
no lo
and
podemos
every
creer
step
cómo
up
pasó
felt like a walk of shame.
estas semanas
I unlocked my
en
door,
esta-
3 separate locks,
con este
the only
trabajo que
security I
fue
could afford,
impresionante.
and stepped inside. The
Y como
apartment
día a
was
día
tiny,
fuimos
a main
encontrando
room that served as
más-
living room, dining room,
más
and
evidencias
kitchen
de
all at
todo lo que
once,
estábamos
a bathroom the size of a
buscando
closet,
y-
and a bedroom that barely fit my
y de
double
lo
bed in
exitosa que
Lily's
fue la
crib.
campaña y-
Mrs.
y
Chen
también
was
gracias
dozing on
a-
my couch, her
a
knitting in her
que-
lap.
que nos bancan, ¿no?
She startled
desde
awake
tierra,
when we entered,
con
her
su
eyes going
presencia,
wide
con
when
sus
she saw Luca.
preguntas,
Emma, you didn't say you were
acompañándonos.
bringing a guest. He's not staying.
Hace que esto sea
I said
también
quickly,
un éxito
just
para,
walking me up.
para todos.
Mrs. Chen, thank you so much for watching Lily. Let me pay you. Nonsense, dear. She was
La
an
campaña
angel.
sí es hasta el 10,
Mrs.
pero
Chen
después
gathered her
nosotros
knitting,
tenemos
shooting curious
que
glances at
emprender
Luca,
el-
who
el
stood in the
tránsito,
doorway
o sea,
like a
el
dark
viaje
prince surveying a peasant's
hasta
hovel.
Madrid, que
I'll
lleva
see you tomorrow,
varios días.
same time.
Y bueno,
Thank you.
vamos a ir viendo dependiendo de las condiciones
After Mrs. Chen
meteorológicas
left,
cómo
the silence in the
cómo
apartment was
estamos
deafening. Luca stepped inside,
para
closing
armar
the door
otro-
behind him, and suddenly the
otro
space felt
plan de
even smaller.
inversión.
He moved through the room with that same assessing gaze, taking in the water stains on the ceiling, the draft from the windows, the hot plate I
Sí,
used
nosotros
because
también
the stove
estamos
was
muy
broken.
emocionados por todo
Where's
lo que
Lily?
pasa
He
y
asked.
lo que significa
Sleeping. In the bedroom.
como,
I moved to block
como
his path.
argentinos
You
y
can't.
argentinas, como
I'm not going to
científicos,
wake
como
her.
docentes,
I just want to see her.
estar acá
His eyes met mine. Please, Emma.
en este
I shouldn't
fondo
have let
marino,
him.
en esta
Every
cuenca de
instinct told me to
Malvinas.
refuse, to get him out of my apartment before he got any deeper into my life. But something in his expression, something almost vulnerable, made me step aside. He moved to the bedroom doorway, and I followed, watching as he looked at my sleeping daughter. Lily was curled in her crib, her tiny fist near her mouth, breathing soft and steady. She looked perfect in the dim glow of her nightlight. Luca stood there for a long moment, absolutely still, his expression unreadable.
Bueno, ahora
Then he
los dejo
reached
con
out,
que Emilia,
his
que
hand
volvió,
hovering over Lily's head
y
like
nos
he
vemos en
wanted to
otro
touch her but
playlist.
didn't dare. She's perfect, he
Se
whispered.
rompe.
She looks like you. Pride swelled in my chest despite everything. She's my whole world. I know. He stepped back, turning to face me in the narrow doorway. We were inches apart, his body blocking most of the light from the other room. And that's why you're going to let me help you. Luca. Tomorrow, someone will come to install proper locks on your door, and to fix the windows. The landlord will be encouraged. to make all necessary repairs by the end of the week. His hand came up to cup my face. And you're going to start looking at apartments in better neighborhoods. I'll cover the deposit and the first 6 months' rent. I can't accept that. You can. You will. His thumb brushed my lips and I stopped breathing. Because if you don't, I'll buy this entire building and evict everyone except you, just to keep you safe, and that would displace a lot of good people who don't deserve it. I stared at him, unable to tell if he was serious. That's extortion. That's protection. He leaned closer, his breath warm against my face. I told you, Emma. You're mine now, and I take care of what's mine. This is insane. Yes. He smiled, dark and devastating. But you're going to let me do it anyway, because you're smart enough to know that pride won't keep Lily safe. Pride won't put food in her mouth or keep the heat on in winter. Pride won't protect you from the men who watch you walk home alone at night. He was right, and I hated him for it. What do you want in return? I asked again. Really want? His eyes searched mine, and for a moment I saw past the cold exterior to something raw and hungry beneath. Time. Let me take you to dinner again. Let me get to know you. Let me be part of your life. That's all? For now. His hand slid from my face to my neck, his thumb resting against my racing pulse. Eventually I'll want more. I'll want everything. But for now, let me start with this. I should have said no, should have pushed him away and slammed the door and never looked back. But I was so tired of fighting alone, so tired of being scared and hungry and desperate. Okay, I whispered. But this doesn't mean... It means you're giving me a chance. He pressed his forehead to mine, just for a second, the gesture unexpectedly tender. That's all I need. And then he stepped back, putting distance between us before I could process what had just happened. Lock the door behind me, all 3 locks. I'll have my men watching the building tonight to make sure you're safe. That's not necessary, Emma. Just my name, soft and firm. Let me do this. Please. So I nodded, following him to the door. He paused on the threshold, looking back at me one more time. Wear something comfortable tomorrow. I'm taking you and Lily to the park. I have work. No, you don't. I bought out your next 3 shifts. He said it so casually, like he hadn't just upended my entire schedule. 2 p.m. I'll pick you up. Then he was gone, leaving me standing in my shabby apartment with a racing heart and the terrifying realization that my life had just changed completely. I locked all 3 locks, then went to check on Lily. She was still sleeping peacefully, unaware that a dangerous man had just decided we were under his protection. I touched my bandaged arm, feeling the warmth where his hands had been, and wondered what the hell I'd just gotten myself into. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Luca's face, those dark eyes watching me like I was something rare and precious. I felt his hands on my skin, heard his voice promising to take care of me. The entire encounter felt surreal, like something from a dream that would dissolve in daylight. But when morning came, the evidence was still there. The bandage on my arm, the $300 in my purse. And when I looked out my window, a black sedan was parked across the street, 2 men visible in the front seat. He really had put guards on my building. Lily woke at 6, hungry and fussy. I fed her while watching the sedan, wondering what kind of man could just assign guards to watch a stranger's apartment, wondering what kind of man could look at a broke waitress and decide she belonged to him, wondering why part of me didn't hate the idea as much as I should. Mrs. Chen knocked at 8, surprised when I told her I didn't need her today. A day off? Emma, when was the last time you took a day off? I can't remember, I admitted. But apparently my schedule's been cleared. Her eyes went to the window, to the sedan. Does this have anything to do with that handsome man from last night? Maybe. Emma Chen. Well, Emma Morrison now. You be careful with men like that. They're dangerous. I know. But I wasn't sure I cared anymore. At noon, I started getting ready. I had no idea what to wear to a park date with a mafia boss. Everything I owned was either stained work clothes or worn casual items that had seen better days. I finally settled on jeans that didn't have holes and a blue sweater that brought out my eyes. Or at least, That's what Tyler used to say before he started criticizing everything about me.
So, near the
I dressed
shed,
Lily in her nicest outfit, a pink dress my mother had
Yeah.
sent for her baptism,
these
the only thing we
two
owned that didn't come from a
right
thrift
above
store.
the shed.
She looked like a
Yeah.
tiny princess, all chubby cheeks and bright eyes. Your mama's losing her mind, I told her as I brushed out my hair, actually putting on makeup for the first time in months. Going on a date with a criminal, what would Grandma say? Lily just gurgled and grabbed at my hair. At exactly 2 p.m., there was a knock at my door. I checked the peephole. Dante, looking massive and professional in his black suit. I opened the door with Lily on my hip. "He sent you to get us?" "Mr. Valentino is waiting downstairs, Miss Emma. He thought it might be easier if I carried the baby things." Dante's gaze dropped to Lily, and something softened in his harsh face. "Beautiful baby."
Fabri, ¿quieres
Thank you.
arrimarte?
I gestured to the diaper bag I'd
Métele,
packed,
so
along with Lily's
you want
stroller.
maybe 10
That's
centimeters
everything. Dante
Yes.
took both without complaint, handling them with surprising care. "After
Yeah, like
you,
a big
miss."
hole, and
The
then
walk
you
down
put
felt
one
different
inside
with
the hole.
Dante behind me, protective.
And if it
The
is
men who
alive,
usually
then
loitered on the
you
second floor landing were conspicuously absent.
very fast.
The entire building felt quieter, safer. The SUV waited at the curb, and this time Luca stood beside it, looking devastating in dark jeans and a black Henley that hugged his frame. Casual clothes, but still expensive. I could tell from the way the
Ahí,
fabric
vámonos.
draped.
Y ahora pushcar.
His eyes found mine immediately, and that intensity from last night was back, multiplied. "Emma." He moved toward me, and I noticed he was carrying something. A shoebox. "Before we go, these are for you." I shifted Lily on my hip, taking the box with my free hand. Inside were the most beautiful shoes I'd ever seen. Simple black flats, but leather so soft it felt like butter, with cushioned insoles that promised comfort.
No, no le tenés fe.
Designer brand, probably cost more than my monthly rent.
Entonces no
"Luca,
sigamos,
I can't, you can't wear broken shoes." He took the box back, then did something that made my heart stop. He knelt in front of me, right there on the sidewalk, and gestured to my feet. "May I?" I couldn't speak, could only
No te
nod.
entiendo.
He removed my worn sneakers with gentle hands, then slipped the new flats onto my feet one at a time. They fit perfectly, like they'd been made for me. His hands lingered on my ankle, thumb brushing the inside of my foot, before he stood.
No, vamos a seguir.
"Better?" His voice was soft,
Está bien.
intimate, like we were alone instead of on a Brooklyn street. "Yes," I whispered. "Thank you." His attention shifted to Lily, who was staring at him with wide eyes. "May I?" I hesitated, but something in his expression made me nod. He reached out slowly, letting Lily see his hands, then carefully took her from me. She went willingly, tiny hands immediately reaching for his face. Watching Luca Valentino, notorious crime boss, dangerous man, hold my 6-month-old daughter with such careful reverence did something to my chest. He supported her head perfectly, spoke to her in soft Italian, let her grab his finger with her whole hand. "She's strong," he murmured, a smile playing at his lips as Lily tried to put his finger in her mouth. "She gets that from her mother." I don't know why I said it, but it made him look at me with such warmth that I forgot how to breathe. "Yes, she does." He pressed a kiss to Lily's forehead, then carefully transferred her to a car seat that was already installed in the SUV. Top of the line, brand new, the kind I'd been saving for months to buy. "When did you—" "This morning," Dante installed it. He helped me into the SUV, his hand warm on my lower back. "I want her safe when she's with me. When, not if." Like he'd already decided Lily would be a regular part of his life. The drive to the park was different from last night.
¿Eh?
Luca kept Lily entertained, making faces that earned him her rare laugh, a sound that never failed to make my heart swell. Dante navigated through Brooklyn with practiced ease, and I noticed the other guard, Marco, I'd learned, constantly scanning our surroundings. "Do you always travel with guards?" I asked. Luca's expression shuddered slightly.
Wait,
"Yes."
wait.
"Because of what you do?
¿Dónde?
Because of who I am." He looked at me, gauging something. "Does it bother you,
¿Dónde? Ah,
knowing what I am?" I thought about lying, but something about those dark eyes demanded truth. Yes and no. Yes. Because it's dangerous and scary. No, because you've been nothing but kind to me and Lily. I will always be kind to you. His hand found mine, threading our fingers together. To both of you. You have nothing to fear from me, Emma. But other people do. Yes. No apology, no justification. Just acknowledgement. Have you killed people? The question hung in the air. Lily babbled in her car seat, oblivious to the weight of what I'd just asked. Yes, Luca said finally. I've killed people. Bad people. People who threatened my family. People who broke our rules. I won't lie to you about that. Does it bother you when you do it? He was quiet for a long moment. It used to. Now it's just necessary. Part of the job. I should have been horrified. Should have grabbed Lily and run, but I just squeezed his hand, processing this new information about the man who'd decided to claim me. Thank you for being honest, I said. His surprise was visible. You're not going to run. Where would I run to? You'd just find me. I tried to make it sound light, but we both knew it was true. I would. He agreed. Every time. For the rest of your life, Emma, I would find you. The park he took us to wasn't the rundown playground near my apartment. This was Prospect Park, beautiful and well-maintained, with actual grass and trees that hadn't been strangled by pollution. Dante parked near a secluded area, and Marco immediately got out to scout ahead. Is all this security really necessary? I asked, as Luca helped me out of the SUV. We're just going to a park. I have enemies. His voice was flat. People who would hurt anyone connected to me just to make a point. I won't risk you or Lily. The weight of what he was saying settled over me. Maybe this is a bad idea. If being near you puts Lily in danger, being near me puts her under my protection. He took Lily from her car seat, settling her against his chest with practiced ease. No one touches what's mine, and if they try, they don't live long enough to regret it. The casual violence in his voice should have scared me. Instead, it made me feel safer than I had in months. We walked through the park, and it was surreal. This dangerous man carrying my baby like she was the most precious thing in the world, pointing out birds and trees in Italian and English while his guards maintained a discreet but visible perimeter. Other families gave us space, though whether it was because of the guards or the aura of danger Luca carried, I couldn't tell. You're good with her, I observed, as we sat on a bench near a small pond. Lily was content in his arms, playing with the buttons on his shirt. I like children. He adjusted Lily's dress, his large hands impossibly gentle. In another life, I would have wanted several. Why not in this life? His expression darkened. Because my life is violence and danger. Because I watched my father get shot in front of me when I was 8. Because I took over the family when I was 19 and spent the next decade eliminating threats and consolidating power. He looked at me, and the pain in his eyes was raw. What kind of father would I be, Emma? What kind of life could I offer a child? Lily seems pretty content right now, I pointed out softly. Lily doesn't know what I am, what I've done. Neither did I until an hour ago. And I'm still here. He studied me, searching for something. Why? Why are you still here when you know the truth? I thought about it, really thought about it, because you make me feel safe. Because you look at me like I matter. Because when you hold my daughter, you're gentle in a way her own father never was. I reached out, touching his face, feeling the slight stubble on his jaw. Because I've been alone and scared for so long, and you're offering me a way out. This isn't a way out, Emma. His hand covered mine, pressing it against his face. This is a way deeper in. Once you're truly mine, there's no leaving. I don't let go of what belongs to me. I know. And terrifyingly, I did know. I could see it in every look, every touch, every possessive word. I think part of me knew it from the moment you caught me in that diner. And you're still choosing this? Choosing me? I'm choosing to try. I pulled my hand back, needing space to think. But I need you to understand. Lily comes first. Always. If this thing between us ever puts her at risk, I'm gone. I don't care how powerful you are or how many guards you have. I will find a way to protect my daughter. Pride flickered in his eyes. I would expect nothing less. And I promise you, Emma, Lily will always be safe with me. safer than she's ever been.
Between the
He
two
stood,
holes.
shifting Lily to one arm while offering me his other hand.
Caben los
Come.
dos, so
There's something I want to show you.
then.
He led us deeper into the park, to a small clearing where someone had set up a blanket and a picnic basket. Expensive wine, fresh fruit, sandwiches from what looked like a gourmet deli, and baby food. I stared at the jars of organic baby food, the kind I couldn't afford. You planned this? Of course.
Sí, que nadie se vaya
He
a
settled
lavar los
onto the
platos,
blanket
estamos
with
haciendo
Lily,
las pushcore,
who immediately reached for the food. I wanted our first real date to be special. Mafia bosses go on picnics? This one does, when he's trying to court the woman he wants. He opened a jar of baby food, testing the temperature carefully before offering a tiny spoonful to Lily. She ate eagerly,
I think so.
and my heart did something complicated in my chest, watching this dangerous man feed my daughter. I sank onto the blanket beside them, accepting the glass of wine he poured me. This is insane. You've said that before. It bears repeating, but I was smiling, couldn't help it.
Right next to it.
I should be terrified of you, but you're not. It wasn't a question. No, I should be, but I'm not. I watched him feed Lily, his movements patient and
Para todos los
careful.
que dicen que los pushcore son aburridos.
My mother would tell me I'm making a huge mistake, that I'm putting Lily and myself in danger. Your mother would probably be right, but you're going to pursue me anyway. Yes. He looked at me over Lily's head, eyes dark and intense. I'm going to pursue you, and win you, and make you mine in every way possible. I'm going to move you out of that death trap apartment into somewhere safe. I'm going to make sure you never have to work double shifts again. I'm going to give Lily everything she deserves and more. He set down the baby food, reaching out to cup my face. And I'm going to make you happy, Emma, even if it takes me the rest of my life. That's a big promise. I keep my promises. His thumb brushed my lower lip, and heat pooled in my stomach, always. We ate in comfortable silence, Lily contentedly playing with a soft toy Luca had produced from somewhere.
Right.
The afternoon sun filtered through the trees, warming my skin. And for the first time in months, maybe years,
This laser.
I felt something like peace. Tell me about your family, I said eventually. Your sister. You mentioned her last night. Luca's expression softened. Gianna. She's 25, studying art history in Florence. I send her money every month to make sure she never has to struggle like we did as children. Does she know what you do? She knows I'm in the family business. She chooses not to ask for details, and I choose not to tell her. He poured more wine. She's the good one. The one who got out. I made sure of that. You protect her. With everything I have. His eyes met mine. The same way I'm going to protect you and Lily. A shadow fell across the blanket, and I looked up to see Marco approaching, his expression tense. He spoke to Luca in rapid Italian, too fast for me to catch more than a few words, but I caught one name, Morrison. Luca's entire body went rigid. His jaw clenched, and when he looked at Marco, there was murder in his eyes. He responded in Italian, his voice deadly quiet, and Marco nodded before walking away. What's wrong? I asked, my heart starting to race. Luca turned to me, and the cold violence in his expression made me flinch. Then he visibly forced himself to relax, his features smoothing out. Nothing for you to worry about. That's not an answer. Emma, you just heard something about Morrison. About Tyler. My hands clenched in my lap. What about him? Luca was quiet for a long moment, clearly debating what to tell me. Finally, he sighed. My men have been looking into him. Standard background check for anyone in your life.
This one.
And he's in New York. Has been for the past 3 months.
In between these two.
The world tilted. What? He's been in the city, Emma. Living in Manhattan with a new girlfriend. Working at some startup. Luca's voice was carefully controlled, but I could hear the rage beneath. He's been here the whole time, and he never once tried to contact you or Lily. Tears burned my eyes, and I hated myself for them.
Ooh.
Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know. He set Lily gently in her carrier, then pulled me into his arms, my face pressed against his chest, and because I wanted you to hear it from me before you heard it anywhere else. I let myself cry against him, mourning not the loss of Tyler. I was over him, but the confirmation that Lily's father truly didn't care about her existence, that he could be in the same city and not even wonder how his daughter was doing. "I'm sorry," Luca murmured into my hair, his arms tight around me. "I'm sorry he's such a bastard. I'm sorry he doesn't see what he's missing. I'm sorry you've had to do this alone." "I'm not alone anymore," I said, the words muffled against his shirt. His arms tightened. "No, you're not. You'll never be alone again, Emma. I promise you that." We stayed like that for a long time, his hand stroking my hair while I pulled myself together. When I finally lifted my head, his expression was murderous again. "What are you thinking?" I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted to know. "I'm thinking about all the ways I could make Tyler Morrison disappear." His voice was flat, matter of fact. Slowly, painfully. Making him regret every decision that led to him abandoning you and Lily. "Luca, I won't," he said quickly. "Not unless you ask me to, but I want to. God, Emma, I want to make him suffer for what he did to you." The protective violence should have scared me. Instead, it made me feel valued in a way I never had before. "I don't want you to hurt him. I just want him to stay away from us." "Consider it done." He pressed a kiss to my forehead. "My men will make sure he knows to keep his distance. He won't bother you again. Thank you. You don't need to thank me for protecting you. It's not a favor, Emma. It's a necessity." He pulled back slightly, studying my face. "Are you okay?" "I will be." I managed a watery smile, "Especially if you keep feeding me expensive wine and gourmet sandwiches." That earned me a real smile, warm and genuine. "I can do that." The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur of conversation and quiet moments. Luca told me stories about growing up in Brooklyn, about his mother's determination to keep him and Gianna safe despite poverty and danger. I told him about my own childhood in New Jersey, about dreams of nursing school, about the moment I first held Lily and knew I would do anything to protect her. By the time the sun started setting, Lily was asleep in her carrier, and I was curled against Luca's side, his arm around my shoulders. It felt natural, right? Like we'd been doing this for years instead of days. "I should get you home," he said reluctantly. "Lily needs a proper bed, and you look exhausted." "I am exhausted, but it's good exhaustion." I looked up at him. "Thank you for today. It was perfect. It was a beginning." He helped me stand, gathering Lily's carrier with practiced ease. "There will be many more days like this, Emma. I promise you that." The drive home was quiet, peaceful. Lily slept through the entire trip, and I found myself dozing against Luca's shoulder. When we pulled up to my building, I was disappointed to see it, wanting to stay in this protective bubble a little longer. "Tomorrow," Luca said as Dante opened the door, "contractors will be here at 9 a.m. to start on the repairs. They'll fix everything. The windows, the heat, the mold, all of it. It will be loud, so maybe take Lily to the park for a few hours." "You really bought out my shifts? For the next 2 weeks? You need rest, Emma. Real rest." He carried Lily's carrier, walking me up to my apartment, "And you need time to find a better place to live." "Luca,
You can go.
non-negotiable."
Yeah,
He set the carrier down inside my door, then pulled me close. "I know you want to be independent. I respect that. But letting yourself and Lily live in squalor isn't independence. It's stubbornness. Let me help you." I looked up at him, at this beautiful, dangerous man who'd crashed into my life and decided I belonged to him. Why me? You could have anyone. Why a broke single mother working at a diner? His hand came up to cradle my face, his touch achingly gentle. Because when I looked at you, I saw strength. I saw someone who would sacrifice everything for the person they love. I saw someone real, someone who hasn't been corrupted by money or power or privilege.
¿Qué están haciendo?
His thumb brushed my cheek. I saw someone worth protecting, worth claiming, worth keeping. I'm not a possession.
Tienen de
No.
fondo el
You're so much more than that.
streaming y ¿qué están
He leaned
haciendo? Están
down,
tomando
his
mate,
forehead resting against
tereré,
mine.
una
You're mine,
cervecita,
Emma, and I'm
cuernecito.
yours. Whether you realize it yet or not. Then he kissed me. It was gentle at first, testing. His lips soft against mine, but when I didn't pull away, when I actually leaned into him, the kiss deepened. His hand slid
Hay
into
alguien
my
que pregunta
hair,
cómo
tilting
puede
my
haber
head
burbujas
back,
donde no hay
and I
aire.
tasted
Cuando el
wine
gas
and
está
desire
súper
and promise on
saturado,
his tongue.
se forman
Heat flooded
burbujas.
through me, pooling
Y
low
las
in my
burbujas pueden
stomach,
ser de
and I
distinto
grabbed his
tamaño,
shirt to keep from
pueden
falling.
ser muy
When he
chiquititas,
finally pulled back,
microscópicas, y
we
están
were
entre
both
los
breathing
intersticios
hard.
del
I should
sedimento,
go, he
o
said,
pueden ser
his
bastante
voice
grandes.
rough, before I do something we're not ready for.
En otros casos puede estar
I nodded,
gas disuelto,
not
eso no
trusting
se
my
ve.
voice. Lock the door. My men will be
Acá hay
watching.
gente que me
He
dice
pressed one more
un poco
kiss to my forehead,
trabajando, un poco en el
then
stream,
left, taking all the
tomando
warmth
mate.
with him. I
Recién
locked the
estaba
door and leaned
almorzando.
against it,
Bueno,
my
5 de la
fingers
tarde.
touching my lips where I could still feel his kiss.
Almorzando.
In her carrier, Lily started to fuss,
Marcelo.
needing to be fed and changed.
Ah, no,
I went to her on
perdón,
autopilot, my
usted.
mind spinning. 2 days
Hay
ago,
gente
I'd been alone and
cosiendo para su
desperate.
emprendimiento,
Now I had a
merendando,
dangerous man
mirando el
claiming me,
streaming,
guards watching my building,
haciendo la merienda,
and the promise of a life I'd never imagined
restaurante
possible.
puliendo,
I should have been terrified. Instead, I was starting to fall. The next 2 weeks passed in a whirlwind that left me dizzy and disoriented, like I'd been caught in a storm and couldn't find solid ground. True to his word, contractors arrived at 9 a.m. the day after our park date. They swarmed my apartment like organized chaos, fixing windows, replacing the heating system, treating the mold, patching holes in the walls I'd stopped seeing months ago. The building's landlord showed up personally, sweating and nervous, assuring me that anything I needed would be taken care of immediately. I didn't have to ask who'd scared him into compliance. Luca called every morning at 7, his voice rough with sleep, asking how Lily and I had slept. He texted throughout the day, random things like pictures of buildings he thought I'd like for apartments, or links to articles about child development, or just simple messages, thinking of you, stay safe. He took us out every afternoon, museums, nicer parks, quiet restaurants where the staff knew him by name and treated us like royalty. He bought Lily toys that she was too young to play with yet, clothes in sizes she wouldn't fit for months, books we could read to her as she grew. He bought me things too, despite my protests. A new winter coat because mine was threadbare, shoes that didn't hurt my feet, a laptop so I could research nursing schools. You'll need it when you go back to school, he'd said, brushing off my objections like they were nothing. Every night, he walked me to my door, kissed me until I forgot my own name, then left before things could go further. The restraint was driving me insane, especially when I could feel the tension in his body, see the hunger in his eyes. Why do you always leave? I asked on the 10th night, my back pressed against my apartment door, his hands braced on either side of my head. Because when I have you, Emma, his voice was pure gravel. I want to do it right, not rushed, not in some apartment where your daughter is sleeping 10 feet away. I want to take my time with you, hours, all night. His lips brushed my ear, and I want you to be sure, completely sure that this is what you want. I'm sure, I breathed. Not yet, but soon. He pressed one more searing kiss to my mouth, then pulled away, leaving me aching and frustrated. But it wasn't all perfect. There were moments that reminded me exactly what Luca was, what he did. Like the afternoon I saw him take a phone call, his expression going cold and deadly. He'd stepped away, speaking in rapid Italian, but I caught enough words to understand someone had betrayed him. Someone needed to be handled. When he came back, there was blood on his knuckles that hadn't been there before, hastily wiped, but still visible. He'd caught me staring and simply said, "Business. Nothing for you to worry about." But I did worry. I worried about the men who watched our building at night. I worried about the way other people looked at Luca, with fear, with respect, with the knowledge that crossing him meant death. I worried about what it meant that I was falling for a man who could order someone killed as easily as he ordered dinner. On the 14th day, everything changed. I was apartment hunting online, looking at places in neighborhoods I'd never dreamed of affording, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Emma Morrison? A woman's voice. Professional, slightly cold. Yes? This is Detective Sarah Chen with the NYPD. I need to ask you some questions about your relationship with Luca Valentino. My blood went cold. I don't know what you're talking about, Ms. Morrison. We have surveillance photos of you with Mr. Valentino. Multiple dates. Him entering your apartment. Guards stationed outside your building. Her voice softened slightly. We know he's involved in your life. We're not trying to get you in trouble. We just want to understand the nature of your relationship. Am I being investigated? No. But Mr. Valentino is. And anyone close to him becomes a person of interest. Papers rustled on her end. We're aware you have a 6-month-old daughter. We're aware your financial situation has been difficult. We just want to make sure you're not being coerced or manipulated. I'm not. The words came out sharp. Luca has been nothing but kind to me and my daughter. Luca Valentino is the head of one of the most dangerous crime families in New York. He's suspected in at least 15 murders, numerous acts of extortion, money laundering, racketeering. I know what he is. My hands were shaking, and I'm still telling you I'm not being coerced. Is there anything else, Detective? A long pause. Ms. Morrison, if you ever need help, if you ever want to get away from him, we can protect you. We can offer witness protection, a new identity, a fresh start for you and your daughter. The offer hung in the air like a lifeline I wasn't sure I wanted. I'll keep that in mind, I said finally. Can I go now? One more thing. Tyler Morrison, your ex-partner, he's been asking questions about you, about where you live, what you're doing. We think he might be planning to file for custody of your daughter. The world tilted. What? We're not sure of his motives yet, but given your new relationship with Mr. Valentino, it's possible Mr. Morrison sees an opportunity. Courts don't look kindly on children being raised around organized crime figures. After I hung up, I sat frozen on my couch, the phone clutched in my shaking hands. Tyler wanted custody? Tyler, who'd abandoned us, who'd never once asked about Lily, who'd stolen our savings and disappeared. The rage that filled me was white-hot and consuming. I called Luca without thinking. He answered on the first ring. Emma? What's wrong? His voice was immediately sharp, alert. Are you okay? Is Lily? The police called me. The words tumbled out. They asked about us, about our relationship, and they said Tyler is asking questions, that he might try for custody. Where are you? Already moving. I could hear it in his voice. Are you at home? Yes, but... Lock the door. I'm 5 minutes away. Don't open it for anyone except me. The line went dead. He was there in 4 minutes, not 5. I heard him taking the stairs 3 at a time. Heard him bark orders to his guards in Italian. When I opened the door, he swept in like a storm, immediately checking the apartment like he expected to find threats hiding in corners. What exactly did the detective say? He pulled me to the couch, keeping me close. Every word, Emma. I need to know exactly what she said. I told him everything, watching his expression grow progressively darker. By the time I finished, his jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle jumping. They're investigating you because of me. It wasn't a question. And Tyler thinks he can use that to take Lily. He has no grounds. He abandoned her. Courts don't care about that if they think she's in danger. Luca stood, pulling out his phone. If they can prove you're romantically involved with me, if they can show Lily is being exposed to criminal activity, she's not being exposed to anything. But even as I said it, I knew it was a lie. She'd been in Luca's arms, in his car, surrounded by his guards. Oh God. What have I done? You haven't done anything wrong. Luca knelt in front of me, taking my hands. This is not your fault, Emma. This is Tyler being a vindictive bastard, and the police trying to use you to get to me. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am putting Lily in danger by being with you. No. His grip tightened. You're giving her a better life, a safe home, enough food, financial security. None of that matters if she gets taken away. Tears were streaming down my face now. I can't lose her, Luca. I can't. She's everything to me. You won't lose her. His voice was absolute, unshakable. I promise you, Emma. I will not let anyone take your daughter. Not Tyler, not the police, not anyone. How can you promise that? Because I have resources they don't. Lawyers, judges, people who owe me favors. His thumbs brushed away my tears. And because Tyler Morrison is about to have much bigger problems than custody battles, the cold violence in his voice should have scared me. Instead, it made me feel protected. What are you going to do? What I should have done 2 weeks ago. He stood, already making calls. Within minutes, he had 3 different conversations going. His lawyer, someone he called his fixer, and someone whose name I didn't catch but who apparently specialized in making problems disappear. I watched him work, this dangerous man mobilizing an entire network to protect me and Lily. He spoke in rapid Italian and English, his commands sharp and absolute. No one questioned him. No one hesitated. This was Luca Valentino in his element. Powerful, ruthless, terrifying. And he was using all of that power for me. When he finally hung up, he came back to me, pulling me into his arms. My lawyer is already filing restraining orders against Tyler. We're documenting his abandonment, his theft, everything. By tomorrow, he won't be able to come within 100 yards of you or Lily. What about the police investigation? They have nothing. They've been investigating my family for years and never made anything stick. You've done nothing illegal. You're dating someone they don't like, but that's not a crime. His hand stroked my hair. They tried to scare you. That's all this was. A fishing expedition, hoping you'd give them something they could use. Should I have talked to them? No. You did perfectly. He pressed a kiss to my head. But from now on, if anyone from law enforcement contacts you, you don't talk to them. You call my lawyer immediately. Understood? I nodded against his chest, breathing in his scent, letting his solidity ground me. I'm scared, I admitted.
That would be nice.
I know. But I've got you, Emma, both of you. He pulled back, cupping my face. This is the price of being with me. There will be investigations, threats, people trying to use you to get to me. I can't make that go away, but I can protect you from it, if you'll let me.
Okay, anyway.
I don't have much choice now, do I? You always have a choice.
Okay.
His eyes were serious. You could walk away, take witness protection, disappear, start over somewhere new, without you, without me. Pain flickered across his face. I would let you go, Emma. If that's what's best for Lily, I would step back. It would kill me, but I would do it. I thought about it, really thought about it. A new life, away from danger and investigations and men with guns, away from the constant awareness that the man I was falling for had blood on his hands, but also away from Luca, away from the way he looked at me like I was precious, away from the protection, the security, the first real hope I'd had in years. I'm not going anywhere, I said finally. We're staying. Together. The relief on his face was stark. You're sure? I'm terrified, but I'm sure. I pulled him down for a kiss, pouring everything I couldn't say into it. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Take me somewhere. Somewhere private. Somewhere Lily will be safe and we can just be. Understanding flashed in his eyes. Are you sure? After everything that just happened? Especially after everything that just happened. I touched his face, feeling the stubble rough against my palm. You said you wanted me to be completely sure. I am. I'm sure, Luca. I want this. I want you. He closed his eyes briefly, then opened them with new determination. Mrs. Chen, can she watch Lily tonight? I'll call her. Mrs. Chen agreed immediately, no questions asked. 20 minutes later, she arrived with her knitting and a knowing smile. You take all the time you need, dear. Lily and I will be just fine. Luca had his guards do a full security sweep of my apartment before we left, giving them explicit instructions to protect Mrs. Chen and Lily with their lives. Then he took my hand and led me down to the SUV. Where are we going? I asked as Dante pulled into traffic. My place. His thumb traced circles on my palm. I have a penthouse in Manhattan. Secure, private, soundproofed. His voice dropped. No one will disturb us. The drive felt eternal. Luca kept my hand in his the entire time, occasionally bringing it to his lips, his eyes dark with promise. The tension between us was thick enough to choke on. His building was in Tribeca, all glass and steel and obvious wealth. The doorman greeted him by name, eyes carefully averted from me. The elevator required a key to access the penthouse, another layer of security. When the doors opened directly into his apartment, I forgot to breathe. It was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, modern furniture that probably cost more than my yearly income, art on the walls that looked like it belonged in museums. But despite the obvious wealth, it felt like a home. Books on shelves, family photos in expensive frames, a blanket draped over the couch like someone actually sat there. This is beautiful, I whispered. It's just a place. He led me further inside, past the living room to a hallway. I have 5 bedrooms. One could be Lily's, when
Bueno.
you're ready to bring her here. When, not if. Always assuming I would eventually move into his life completely. He opened a door at the end of the hall, revealing his bedroom. It was massive. A king-sized bed with dark sheets, more windows showing the glittering city, a sitting area with a fireplace. Everything was masculine,
Sí, mi mamá me
clean
escribe,
lines
"Hola,
and dark
Emilia."
colors, but
Me
somehow
pone el
inviting. I
emoticón
walked to the
de-
windows,
del
looking out
mate.
at New York spread below us like a sea of lights.
Sí, la
I could
saludo.
see the bridge, the river, the city that had chewed me up and nearly destroyed me. Emma. Luca's voice was soft behind me. We don't have to do anything tonight. We can just talk, have dinner.
Acá hay gente que
I turned to
dice,
face him,
"Hola, ¿por dónde
cutting off
andan?
his
Estoy de
words.
guardia y los encontré de casualidad.
I want
Seguimos
this.
frente a las
I
costas
want
de
you.
Tierra del Fuego.
Stop
en las
giving me
Cuencas
outs,
Malvinas.
Luca.
Estamos en
I'm
este
choosing
momento
this.
en
I'm choosing you.
una especie
Something
de
in his
volcán de
expression
fango
cracked
chiquitito,
open,
se llama,
revealing the hunger he'd been keeping leashed for 2 weeks.
Horseshoe Mound.
He crossed to me in 3 strides,
Es un
his hands
un
framing
lugar
my
con mucha
face,
actividad de
his kiss
filtración
consuming.
de gases,
Not gentle this time,
y con
but demanding,
hidratos de metano
possessive,
superficiales.
claiming.
Un
I kissed him back
ecosistema
just as
quimiosintético.
fiercely,
Está
my
asociado a
hands
todas
pulling
estas
at his
filtraciones
shirt,
de gases,
needing to feel his skin. He
con
helped me,
diferentes tipos de
shrugging
hábitats,
out of the
diferentes
expensive
comunidades.
fabric and tossing it aside. His body was exactly as I'd imagined. Sculpted muscle, scars telling stories of violence survived, and a tattoo
Estuvimos
over his
visitando
heart in Italian script I
este
couldn't
sitio
read.
ya en 2
What does it
inversiones
say?
previas.
I traced the letters with my finger.
Y es
La
el
familia
sistema
è
con
tutto.
más actividad
His voice
quimiosintética
was
que se
rough.
haya registrado en el
Family
mapa
is
argentino
everything.
hasta ahora.
Am I family now? You and Lily both. He lifted my sweater over my head, his eyes darkening at the sight of my plain cotton bra. You're
Sí, es la
mine,
Marcela
Emma.
la que anda ahí.
From the
mi
moment
mamá.
I caught you, you've been mine. Then take what's yours. He did. He took his time, just like he'd promised, learning every inch of my body with his hands and mouth. He made me feel beautiful, desired, cherished in a way I'd never experienced. When he finally moved over me, when we finally joined together, it felt like coming home. Afterward, we lay tangled in his sheets, my head on his chest, his fingers tracing patterns on my bare shoulder. The city glittered outside his windows, but I only had eyes for him. I love you, he said quietly. I know it's too soon. I know I probably shouldn't say it yet. But I love you, Emma. You and Lily both. My heart stopped, then started again, racing. Luca, you don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. He pressed a kiss to my hair. I will
la
protect
Marcela
you
del
both
punk.
with everything I have.
Acá hay alguien
I will
que
give you the
pregunta,
life you
"Contanos,
deserve, and I
porfi,
will
cómo
love you
fue
for as long as I'm
el
breathing."
proceso de conseguir
Tears
el
burned my
proyecto, la
eyes.
previa,
I think I love
y-
you too.
y
It's
demás.
crazy and too fast and probably
Bueno,
incredibly
antes de
stupid, but I
conseguir
think
el
I
tiempo de
do.
buque,
He rolled us over,
eh,
pinning me beneath him,
estábamos
his smile brilliant. Say it
haciendo
again.
un
I love
proyecto de
you.
investigación para
And saying
conseguir
it felt like freedom. I love you,
financiación,
Luca Valentino. Even though you're
con
dangerous
un
and
grupo
terrifying
de-
and completely overwhelming.
de
Good.
nosotros.
He kissed me deeply. Because you're not getting away from me
Justamente
now.
este proyecto que busca restaurar
Ever.
corales de mar profundo.
We made love again.
Después,
Slower this time, savoring every touch and kiss.
hicimos
And when we
una
finally fell
aplicación,
asleep wrapped around each other,
para
I
ese
felt
proyecto
safer than I'd
y
felt
otra
in my entire
aplicación para-
life. I woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows
para
and
la
Luca's arm
campaña, para
heavy
obtener
across
tiempo
my
de buque a
waist.
bordo del Falcor 2.
For a moment I panicked.
Em,
Where was I? Where was Lily? Then memory flooded back. I was in Luca's bed. Lily was safe with Mrs. Chen.
Pero en que estoy anotando,
And I
ahora
told this
vuelvo
dangerous
a
man I
contarles.
loved him. Stop overthinking. Luca's voice was rough with sleep. I can hear your brain from here. I should check on Lily. Already did. Dante checked in an hour ago. She's fine.
Participamos
Mrs. Chen
en la
is fine.
convocatoria
Everything is
abierta
fine.
con la expresión de
He
interés,
pulled me
se
closer.
llama, que es una
Stay.
presentación
So I stayed,
resumida de
letting
apenas
myself have
4
this moment
carillas
of
donde
peace
tenemos
before
que
reality intruded
explicar
again.
cuáles son los objetivos,
But
qué
reality always
áreas vamos
intrudes.
a explorar,
Luca's phone rang
qué-
around 9, and his
qué
entire
equipos
body went
científicos,
tense.
tenemos,
He checked the
qué tipo de
screen,
maniobras
swore in
queremos hacer.
Italian, and answered. The conversation was short,
Y
sharp,
este tipo
entirely
de
in
convocatoria
Italian.
será abierta
But
a
I knew
todo
from his
el
expression that
público,
something was very wrong.
global que quisiera hacer
What is it?
investigaciones en la
I
zona del
asked when he hung
Atlántico
up.
Sur.
Tyler.
Sucedió en el
His
año
voice was cold.
2023.
He filed
Hubo muchos
emergency custody
aplicantes
papers this
en
morning.
Argentina, o sea,
Claims
gente
you're
de
an
Argentina
unfit
que aplicó
mother
por
due
ese
to your
tiempo
association with
de
me.
buque a bordo
Claims
del
Lily
Falcor,
is in danger.
y
Can
también
he do
de
that?
distintos lugares del
He can
mundo.
try. But he won't
nuestro
succeed.
proyecto fue seleccionado
Luca
en
was
esta
already
fase,
out of bed, pulling on clothes
inicial,
with
y
efficient
ahí
movements.
pasamos a la segunda fase,
My
que era
lawyer
la
is meeting the
del
judge this
proyecto completo.
afternoon. We're going to bury him in
En esa fase del
documentation of his
proyecto completo,
abandonment, his theft, everything.
con,
What if it's not enough?
3-4 personas,
Fear clawed at my
éramos
throat.
los que estuvimos
What if they take her
escribiendo
anyway while they
estas
investigate?
propuestas.
Luca stopped, turning to face me.
Realizamos
Emma,
la propuesta completa en la cual
look at me.
desarrollamos todo el proyecto
Really
de
look at
investigación
I did.
y de divulgación
I saw
asociado.
the cold fury in his eyes, the absolute
Un
certainty.
trabajo muy
No one is taking your
detallado
daughter.
de
No
lo
one.
que íbamos a hacer,
I have judges in my pocket, lawyers on retainer, and if necessary, I have other methods.
Las investigaciones
His
que nos
voice dropped.
proponíamos, entre otras cosas.
Tyler Morrison will withdraw his
Y
petition by
fuimos
tomorrow.
seleccionados, se nos otorgó
One
el
way
tiempo
or
de
another,
buque,
this
nos
ends.
avisaron
What are you going to
que
do?
en
Whatever it
junio del año
takes.
pasado.
He came back to the bed, kissing me hard.
Desde
Get
entonces,
dressed.
bueno, fuimos
We're going back
ajustando
to your
el
place to get
tiempo
Lily.
en el cual
Then
iba
we're
a
going
suceder
somewhere
nuestra
safe
campaña.
until
Ya
this is
sabíamos que
resolved.
la
Where?
habíamos conseguido
I have a
desde
house
junio del año
upstate,
pasado hasta ahora, así que
secure,
fueron
private, surrounded by my men. We'll
muchos
stay there
meses
until Tyler is no
de
longer a
ver
problem.
el
His hands
momento
framed my
en
face.
función de
I'm not
los
leaving
tiempos del
anything to
buque, que
chance when it
las,
comes to you and Lily. Not
las
anymore.
condiciones que proponía el
And I
equipo
believed
ya
him.
respecto de cuándo
This
se
man
podía
would
hacer la
burn the
campaña.
world down to keep us
Y
safe.
todo
The question was,
trabajo
could I
administrativo,
live with that?
coordinación científica
The house
y demás,
upstate
que
was more
lleva
compound than
un
home.
montón de carga de
30 acres of wooded
laburo,
property
así que
surrounded by high walls and
excelente.
security gates that would make a military base jealous. The main house was beautiful in a stark modern way, all glass and stone and clean lines, with enough bedrooms to house a small army, which was good, because Luca had brought exactly that. Guards patrolled the perimeter in shifts. Security cameras covered every angle. Motion sensors lined the walls. Dante had explained the entire system to me with the same pride a father might show off a newborn baby, completely oblivious to how insane it all was. We'd been here for 3 days, and I was losing my mind. Not because of the security, I'd actually started to find that comforting. Not because of Luca, who spent every free moment with me and Lily, teaching her Italian words and making her laugh with his terrible baby voices. Not even because of the situation with Tyler, which Luca's lawyer assured me was being handled. No, I was losing my mind because I was falling deeper in love with Luca Valentino every single day, and the intensity of it terrified me. I watched him hold Lily like she was made of spun glass, singing her Italian lullabies his mother had taught him. I watched him take conference calls in 3 languages while simultaneously helping me fold baby clothes. I watched him order his men around with cold efficiency, then turn to me with warmth that made my knees weak. He was dangerous and gentle, ruthless and kind, terrifying and comforting all at once. And he looked at me like I was the center of his universe. "You're staring again," Luca said, without looking up from where he was assembling a new crib for Lily. Top of the line, naturally. Because he refused to let her sleep in the portable one I'd brought. "I'm allowed to stare. You're in my bedroom putting together furniture. It's very domestic." "I'm capable of domestic," he glanced at me, eyes warm. "When properly motivated. And I'm proper motivation? You're the only motivation I've needed for anything in 2 weeks." He set down the screwdriver, crossing to where I sat on the bed with Lily. "How is she?" "Teething, cranky. But okay." I stroked Lily's soft hair, marveling at how content she seemed here despite the upheaval. "She likes you. The feeling is mutual." He sat beside us, running one finger down Lily's chubby cheek. She grabbed his finger immediately, trying to stuff it in her mouth. "She has a good grip, strong like her mother. Her mother feels anything but strong right now. You're the strongest person I know, Emma." His free arm came around my shoulders. "You've survived things that would break most people, and you're still fighting, still protecting your daughter, still standing. I'm only standing because you're holding me up. Then I'll hold you up for the rest of our lives." He pressed a kiss to my temple, however long that takes. My phone rang, shattering the moment. Unknown number again, but this time I recognized it, Detective Chen. I showed Luca the screen. His expression hardened, but he nodded. "Answer it, but put it on speaker." I did, my heart hammering. "Hello, Ms. Morrison. I'm calling with an update." Detective Chen's voice was carefully neutral. "Tyler Morrison has withdrawn his custody petition." Relief flooded through me so intensely I nearly dropped the phone. "What? Why?" He
¿Viste,
cited
viste?
personal reasons, said he'd reconsidered and realized you were a fit mother after all. A pause.
Esta de los Antarctiles.
He's also leaving New York,
Con un Caracol,
apparently
¿viste?
accepted a job offer in California
Si entran
that
un
he couldn't
Caracol, vamos con
refuse.
Caracol.
I looked at Luca, who was watching me with an expression that gave nothing away. I see.
Los perdemos.
Ms. Morrison,
Bueno, vamos al
I
baño.
want to be clear. This case against you is closed. You're not under investigation. Your daughter is not in danger of being removed from your custody. Another pause, heavier this time. But I would be remiss if I didn't point out how convenient this timing is. Tyler Morrison was quite adamant about his custody claim 3 days ago. Now he's withdrawing it and leaving the state. Maybe he came to his senses, I said, knowing how weak it sounded. Maybe. But her tone said she knew exactly what had happened. Ms. Morrison, my offer still stands. If you ever need help, if you ever want out, I don't. But thank you for the update, detective.
Se mudó.
I ended the call before she could say more.
Qué bueno,
Luca
¿no?
stood,
Alquilar tan rápido,
taking
tan
Lily
fácil
from my
otro-
arms and settling her in her new crib with
Quien
practiced
pudiera.
ease. She fussed for a moment, then settled, her eyes already drooping.
Hello.
He turned on the mobile he'd installed,
Okay.
dancing
This is
animals
the
that
play
played
de
soft
Fuera de
music,
Experiments
and watched until her breathing
now
evened
we are
out.
collecting some community samples.
Only then did he turn to face me.
Here.
What did you do? I asked quietly. I protected you, protected
No,
Lily.
this one, this
His
one.
voice was even, giving nothing away. That's what I promised to do. Luca, what did you do? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Tyler Morrison received a very generous job offer from a tech company in San Francisco. 6-figure salary, signing bonus, immediate start date. He also received documentation of every illegal thing he's done in the past 5 years. The theft from your account, some tax evasion, a few other indiscretions my people uncovered. And he received a visit from some of my associates who explained very clearly what would happen if he ever came near you or Lily again. You threatened him. I gave him a choice. Take the money and the job and disappear, or face consequences he wouldn't survive. His eyes met mine, unflinching. He chose wisely. I should have been horrified, should have been angry, but all I felt was overwhelming relief mixed with something darker. Satisfaction that Tyler had finally faced consequences for abandoning us. You bought him off and scared him away. I eliminated a threat to my family, yes. He crossed to me, his hands finding my waist. Are you angry? I should be. I leaned into him, resting my head against his chest. I should be horrified that you just made him disappear. But I'm not. I'm relieved. Does that make me a terrible person? It makes you human. His arms tightened around me, and it makes you mine. Someone who understands that sometimes protecting the people you love requires crossing lines. I'm crossing a lot of lines with you. I know, and I would let you go if you asked. If you said this was too much, that you couldn't handle what I am, I would let you walk away. His voice roughened. It would destroy me, but I would do it. I pulled back to look at him. What if I don't want to walk away? What if I want to stay? Even knowing what you are, what you do. Hope flared in his dark eyes. Then you stay. You and Lily both. You move into my place, or we find somewhere new together. You go back to nursing school while I watch Lily. You build the life you've always wanted, and I make sure nothing ever threatens it again. Just like that? Just like that. His hands cupped my face. I told you, Emma. You're mine. And I take care of what's mine. I'm still going to work. I'm not going to be some kept woman who... You're going to be my partner. My equal. He cut me off with a kiss. You want to work? Work? You want to go to school? Go to school. You want to stay home with Lily? Do that. I don't care what you choose as long as you choose to be with me. You make it sound so simple. It is simple. I love you. You love me. Everything else is just details. Details like you being a crime boss.
I don't know if it'll...
Details like me being a crime boss. A slight smile curved his lips. But I'm your crime boss. That has to count for something. It shouldn't have made me laugh, but it did. You're insane. About you? Absolutely. He kissed me again. Deeper this time. Say yes, Emma. Say you'll stay. Say you'll be mine, officially, permanently. What are you asking? He pulled back, and I saw vulnerability in his expression for the first time. I'm asking you to marry me, not now. I know it's too soon, but eventually, when you're ready, I want you to be my wife. I want to adopt Lily as my daughter. I want us to be a real family. My breath caught. Luca, I know it's crazy. I know we've only known each other for 3 weeks, but I've never been more certain of anything in my life. His thumbs brushed my cheeks. You and Lily are my family now. The only family that matters. Let me make it official. I thought about my life 3 weeks ago. Exhausted, broke, alone, terrified. I thought about my life now, protected, provided for, loved in a way I'd never imagined possible. I thought about Lily growing up with a father who would die before letting anyone hurt her, who sang to her in Italian and treated her like she was the most precious thing in the world. Yes, I whispered. His eyes widened. Yes. Not right now. But eventually, yes. I'll marry you. Luca Valentino. I'll be your wife, and you'll be Lily's father, and we'll be a family. Tears spilled down my cheeks. God help me. Yes. His kiss was fierce, claiming, full of promises and passion. He lifted me, carrying me to the bed, covering my body with his. We made love with the afternoon sun streaming through the windows, and our daughter sleeping peacefully nearby, and it felt like the beginning of something permanent. Afterward, we lay tangled together, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my bare skin. We should tell Gianna, he said quietly. She'll want to meet you and Lily. Will she approve? She'll love you. You remind me of our mother. She'll see that too. He pressed a kiss to my shoulder. We'll fly to Florence next month. Take Lily to see the art, eat real Italian food, let my sister spoil you both. That sounds perfect. It will be. He pulled me closer. Everything will be perfect from now on, Emma. I promise you that. And I believed him. Maybe I was naive. Maybe I was making a huge mistake. But watching him with Lily, feeling his arms around me, seeing the future he was painting for us, I couldn't bring myself to care. 3 months later, I moved into Luca's penthouse with Lily. Mrs. Chen cried but helped me pack, making me promise to visit often. The apartment in Brooklyn, now fully renovated, with new tenants already lined up, felt like something from another life. 6 months after that, I started nursing school. Luca hired a nanny to help with Lily during my classes, but he spent every free moment with her himself, determined not to miss a single milestone. 1 year after we met, he proposed properly, with a ring that must have cost 6 figures, on one knee in the same park where we'd had our first date, with Lily in her stroller watching and babbling her approval. "Marry me, Emma," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "Be my wife. Let me be Lily's father. Let me spend the rest of my life proving that I'm worthy of you both." "Yes," I said, pulling him up for a kiss, while Lily clapped her chubby hands. "Yes, yes, yes." The wedding was small. Just Gianna, who'd flown in from Florence and immediately fallen in love with Lily. Dante and Marco, who served as unofficial guards and uncles. Mrs. Chen, who cried through the entire ceremony, and a few of Luca's most trusted associates. We married in the garden of the upstate house, with Lily as our flower girl, toddling down the aisle in a white dress and throwing petals everywhere except where they were supposed to go. Luca cried when he said his vows. Actual tears, running down his face as he promised to love me and Lily for the rest of his life, to protect us, to give us everything we'd ever need or want. I cried too, promising to stand by him, to be his partner, to love him despite and because of everything he was. "You may kiss your bride," the officiant said, and Luca did, dipping me dramatically, while our small audience cheered. That night, after Lily was asleep in the nursery we'd set up at the upstate house, Luca carried me to bed. "Mrs. Valentino," he murmured against my skin. "How does it feel?" "Perfect," I breathed. "Terrifying and perfect. Good." He kissed his way down my body. "Because you're stuck with me now, forever." Forever sounds good. And it was. Not perfect. We fought sometimes, usually about his overprotectiveness or my stubbornness. There were still investigations, Still threats from rivals, still moments when I was reminded exactly what my husband did for a living. There were nights he came home with blood on his hands that I learned not to ask about, and days when guards followed us everywhere because of some new danger I didn't fully understand. But there were also lazy Sunday mornings with Lily between us in bed, her laughter filling the room. There were date nights where Luca treated me like I was the most important person in the world. There were family dinners with Gianna when she visited, with Mrs. Chen, who'd become Lily's honorary grandmother, with the guards who'd become unexpected friends. There was the day I graduated nursing school, 7 months pregnant with our second child, and Luca stood in the audience holding Lily and cheering so loud that people stared. There was the day our son, Alessandro, named after Luca's father, was born, and I watched my dangerous husband cry holding his newborn son. There was the day Lily called Luca Papa for the first time, and his entire face transformed with joy. 2 years after we married, Luca officially adopted Lily. She became Lily Valentino, and Tyler Morrison's parental rights were terminated. He'd never come back, never tried to contact us. The last I'd heard, he was married to someone else in California, living a completely different life. "Do you ever regret it?" I asked Luca one night, curled up together in our bed after putting both kids to sleep, claiming me that first day in the diner, taking on a broke single mother and all her problems. "Never." He kissed me softly. "You're the best thing that ever happened to me, Emma. You and Lily and Alessandro, you're everything. My whole world.
You mean the things?
Even though I came with so much baggage,
I don't know what that.
especially because of that." His hand found mine, threading our fingers together. "You made me want to be better. You gave me a reason to build something beyond the business. You gave me a family, a real family, not just blood ties and obligations, but love. I love you," I whispered. "I love you more." He pulled me closer, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life showing you exactly how much. 5 years after that first encounter in the diner, I stood in our kitchen. We'd eventually moved to a house in Westchester, needing more space for our growing family, and watched through the window as Luca chased Lily and Alessandro around the yard. Both kids were shrieking with laughter, and he was making monster noises, his expensive suit jacket long since abandoned. He caught them both, lifting one in each arm and spinning until they were dizzy and giggling. Then he looked toward the house, toward me, and his entire face softened with love. This was my life now, a dangerous man who loved me fiercely. 2 beautiful children who would never know poverty or fear, a home filled with laughter and protection and the kind of love I'd only dreamed about during those desperate days working double shifts. Was it perfect? No. Was it complicated? Absolutely. Did I sometimes lie awake at night worrying about what would happen if Luca's world finally caught up with us? Yes. But when he came inside and pulled me into his arms, when he kissed me like I was precious, when he whispered, "I love you, Mrs. Valentino," against my lips, all the complications faded away. "Thank you," I said against his chest. "For what?" "For catching me. That first day when I fell, you caught me. You've been catching me ever since." His arms tightened. "I'll catch you every time, Emma. For the rest of our lives, I'll catch you. I promise." And he did. Through every challenge, every threat, every moment of doubt or fear, he caught me. He protected me. He loved me with an intensity that should have been frightening, but instead felt like home. We were an unlikely family. A former waitress, a crime boss, and the children we were raising in a world balanced between danger and devotion. But we were happy. We were safe. We were loved. And in the end, that was all that mattered. 10 years after our wedding, Lily graduated high school at the top of her class. She'd grown into a strong, confident young woman who knew exactly who her father was and loved him anyway. She'd decided to study international law, she said, so she could help people like her mother had once been. People who needed someone to fight for them. Alessandro was 8, brilliant and energetic, already learning Italian and showing an interest in the family business that made me nervous but made Luca proud. And I was 42, happy in my nursing career, still married to the dangerous man who'd claimed me in a Brooklyn diner and changed my life forever. "Do you remember that first night?" Luca asked as we got ready for Lily's graduation party. "When you fell in my booth? How could I forget? You literally swept into my life like a hurricane and refused to leave. Best decision I ever made. He came up behind me, his arms wrapping around my waist. Claiming you, making you mine. I'm still not convinced I didn't dream the whole thing. The Mafia boss falling for the broke waitress. It sounds like bad fiction. It's our fiction. He kissed my neck. Our story. And I wouldn't change a single moment. I turned in his arms, looking up at the man who'd saved me and captured me, and loved me all at once. Neither would I. Not even the scary parts, especially not the scary parts. Those made us who we are. Who are we exactly? He smiled, that devastating smile that still made my heart race after all these years. We're forever, Emma. You and me and our family. We're the impossible made possible. We're proof that sometimes the most unlikely love stories are the ones that last. Forever, I agreed, kissing him. And as we headed downstairs to celebrate our daughter's achievement, surrounded by family and guards and the life we'd built together, I knew he was right. We were forever. The broken waitress and the dangerous crime boss. The single mother and the man who'd chosen to love her child as his own. The unlikely family that shouldn't have worked, but somehow did. We were messy and complicated, and occasionally terrifying. But we were also real and loving and unbreakably strong. We were the Valentinos, and we were finally, completely home.